My name is McConnell. I am one of the editors on Welcome to Wrexham that was just nominated for the Emmys, specifically nominated for episode 18. I believe it was called Do or Die. So working on Welcome to Wrexham was one of the most enjoyable projects that I've ever worked on. That was a combination of just the team that I was working with. We had a great showrunner, other great fellow editors, assistant editors, the whole works. We all were very invested in the material. And if you watch the show, you can't help but just really connect with the characters in the show. And there was a big motivation, I think, especially as we kind of got closer and closer to that release date of just like really wanting to make the town of Wrexham proud of this, of the show. And we knew that it was going to have a really significant impact on the economy and on just like the publicity for the town itself. And so all of that was pressure, but it was a really good pressure. And then I'm a big soccer fan, so any opportunity I can to edit soccer, I'm like, I am there. I love it. And then you got these celebrity guys that just, it's like, it's a pretty funny show, but we did not really have to like lean into that comedy. Like those guys just give it to us. And you just like, you let Robin Ryan be Robin Ryan, and it makes our job a lot easier. The final episode of season 1, Do or Die, it's the culmination, obviously, of the entire show. It's the final match, and it's been literally decades since this team has ever made it this far. And we have, in the show, we're following various players, we're following various townsfolk, and then we're obviously following our main celebrities. And in that episode, we had to figure out a way to be able to close the loop on all of these different storylines while still telling the present match story. And so it was really fun. It was very challenging, but really fun to figure out how to do that, which was very much breaking your linear timeline. We were flashing back, we were flashing forward, using the wrap-ups of these various characters as a way of kind of just building that emotional climax. We found out about it. We had all just been texting and keeping in contact with each other. Myself, Mohammed, Michael, Charles, all of us we got very close throughout this whole process. And so we are continually just texting with each other and being like, hey, 4 more days till it comes out. And so it was, waking up that morning and looking on my phone and being like, we're there. This is wild. And I did not know how to process it. At first I was like, okay, without even thinking about like what it really meant. And then it's only been in the weeks after that where it's kind of set in of like, oh, this is actually a really big deal. We use script sync all the time. It is, now I'm like, oh, we have to have it. After having years of like just completely separate Word docs or whatever and all that, script sync is a godsend. The tools that you need to make things interesting are there. And I think it depends on the project, depends what you're looking for. Sometimes you're on a project, Wrexham is a good example. Like we didn't need a bunch of flashy tools. We used Animat a decent amount to cut out the mics and stuff as they were in the frame, but that's pretty simple. But then I've been on other projects where we are, doing cutouts and all this sort of stuff. So it totally depends on the project. I learned Avid media composer in college. And then when I moved out to Los Angeles, I actually moved out to become a screenwriter and just happened to be at a party. I was desperate for a job. I was getting ready to just take a job at a coffee shop until I could find, an agent and all that fun stuff. But happened to be at a just some Hollywood party, got chatting with somebody. Turns out they were a casting director, and they were like, hey, do you happen to know Avid? And I was like, I actually do. And she was like, do you want a job? And I was like, sure. And she was like, all right, you start Monday. Can you come in? And so I got my first job simply just because I was able to say, I know how to use Avid. And I mean, look, pretty much every major project, with a few exceptions, has all been on Avid. And it is the thing that I tell anybody that is getting into this industry. I tell them, look, at the very least, even if you don't want to be an editor, you need to learn just like the basics of editing, and specifically using Avid, because if you can learn that, it's going to help you in every other aspect of this entire industry. Once I got that job editing, and I had no intentions of being an editor, but the more I started doing it, at least in like the documentary side, I haven't had the experience in the scripted side, but in the unscripted world, the storytelling happens in the edit room. Like, that is where the story is crafted, that's where it's broken, it's all figured out. And so it's not just, oh, let's use this take from here, let's use this take from here, stick them together. This is, you are figuring out these emotional arcs based on the footage. You're sitting with your story producers or other writers or whoever, and you're crafting a story. So I had no idea that being an editor would be so fulfilling. In my mind, when I was in college, I was only taught, these are the guys that just kind of stick all the footage together, slap, bam, we're done. But yeah, in this documentary world, it is much more creatively satisfying than I ever realized. So I would say, if you are an aspiring anything, just give Avid a try, give editing a try, and test out some stuff. Go shoot some documentaries, even if they're short form. They're super easy to do. You find a subject, just get some footage of it, and see what you can make of it.